Noble Drew Ali this. We are Canaanites. That is a fact. We are Canaanites. Now, but the Moorish part is the part that comes from overseas. So you are mixing indigenous bloodlines to America with Moorish teachings of Spain and Morocco. That shit don't go together, Noble Drew Ali. Yes, white people were Moors. Let me get to that. Let me get to that. Now, when I break this down, I'm gonna lead you up to what my answer, my explanation for this is. Cause I gotta show y'all the receipts first. Then I'm gonna show y'all what's going on with this paperwork, right? Cause this Moorish stuff ain't got nothing to do with the indigenous people of the land. That is mixing two things together. That's the problem with this, right? You can't say you come from a Moorish, Spanish, Morocco bloodline, then claim to be an American Indian. That is a contradiction, right? That's like me riding in a Chevrolet trying to put forward parts on the motherfucker. That don't go together. See, when you mix Moorish and indigenous Indian to the land, it don't go together. Because Moorish is not of Timeri. So you're putting two things together to try to, see, they know, see, these people trying to be smart. They trying to outsmart you, right? They know the only way to be sovereign in America is to be an Indian. They know that. So they put this shit together. They put the Moorish shit with the Indian shit, merge it together. Now they try to claim sovereignty. But all you had to do was take the Moorish shit out of there and go back to your indigenous roots of the land. You don't gotta be no Moor to be indigenous to the land. See, they tried to make it synonymous with each other. You can't do that. They don't go together. It's oil and water. Let's keep going. Roll the corn. Now, they had nationality cards. Members were issued nationality and identity cards, often referred to as passports, which they believe recognize the Moorish American rather than U.S. citizens. Now, what they are doing is they are selling paperwork, people. They are selling documents. They always selling documents. We're going to sell you a passport. We're going to sell you a sovereignty to the land. We're going to sell you a deed to the house you don't own. We're going to say, see, it's really a hustle, people. It's really a hustle, right? It's really a hustle. You get fraudulent paperwork that the federal government gonna throw your ass away for using, but you buy it. You are buying jail time. When you buy this shit from these people, you buying jail time. Because the federal government gonna look at you as a threat. They're gonna look at you as a scammer. They're gonna look at you as somebody trying to get over. See, it's really contradicting each other. You're gonna find yourself in a world of trouble fucking with their paperwork. I'm telling y'all now. You keep on thinking you smart and you on the internet trying to smart and you on the internet trying to. Give me a 2 in the chat. Give me a 2 in the chat. 2 in the chat, 2 in the chat, 2 in the chat, 2 in the chat. See, y'all be in these lives talking all this paperwork and undercover Moorish ass shit. But y'all gonna have to hold up for that shit. See, y'all playing a dangerous game. You playing a dangerous game, ain't nobody telling y'all this shit. Keep on doing that shit. Roll the corn. Keep on. Keep trying to sell your paperwork and lie about your land. Come on, sign your paperwork to come on over on the land and keep on doing that shit and come on with a coat and all that old shit. Come on with it. The federal government on that shit, bro. They on that shit. I'm telling y'all now. So keep playing around, thinking you smart. Just like the men before you thought they were smart. Where they end up? Huh? Where all of them at? Where they nations at? Where they land at? See, we talking in reality now. We ain't talking about no fucking straw man and all that. We talking reality. Where they at? Huh? Now, let's keep going. Courts have repeatedly ruled that all persons born or naturalized in U.S. are subject to its laws, regardless of claimed Moorish nationality. The court don't give a fuck about you trying to claim you know more. You think they showing love because you in there talking about you a Moor? Ain't no love in the court. They keep telling you to go to court with the paperwork and ain't no love in there. Take your ass in there where ain't no love in. Keep going in there. I'm going to show y'all a real court case of what them people say about this stuff. Now, like I said, these people know that the only way to become sovereign under a government is through trying to be an Indian. They know that. So they use both of them as a ploy to play around with people. Right? Frivolous filing. Modern Moorish sovereign filing are dismissed by judges as frivolous and legal meritless. They are not showing love to your paperwork. Frivolous filing of paperwork, shit you printed on a cheap ass computer, put your name on it, folded it up, put it on your shirt. That shit don't work. I got a Moorish card. Who printed that motherfucker? The Moors? Who printed your ID, bro? Who printed it? A nigga in the basement? You gonna get it to some white people and they gonna let you go. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, now, the mainstream Moorish Science Temple distances itself from these sovereign legal tactics. Noble Drew Ali didn't really file no paperwork. Noble Drew Ali didn't file no paperwork. He just taught Moorish science teachings. He didn't file nothing over here. He might have filed it with the United Kingdom or something, but he didn't file it over here. Now, the first people to file sovereignty are these people. Roll the corn. Now, they know that indigenous people are the first to claim sovereignty. They know that. So they use this to go along with the Moorish science to try to obtain sovereignty. But you can't be no Morocco Moor and be an American Indian. It is a contradiction. It don't go together. They keep teaching that shit go together. It don't. Let's keep going. Now, in 1970, the Posse Comitatus movement. This movement was deeply rooted with white supremacy, anti-Semitism, and far-right Christian nationalist ideologies. What? Now, the first paperwork filed was by white supremacists to be sovereign in America. I thought this was for indigenous people. I thought this was for people from the land to file. While white supremacists, anti-Semitism, far-right Christians filing to be sovereign in the U.S. court. I thought there was some melanated people shit. It's not. It's not. Anybody can file it. Because these people filed it. Posse comitatus. Now let's keep going. The movement was founded by white supremacists who believed the federal government was illegitimate and aimed to protect the rights of white Christians. Paper terrorism. This is what these motherfuckers doing with this paperwork. It is paper terrorism. No, this is what the court called it. Paper terrorism. You go to jail for terrorism. Keep filing your paperwork, passing it on the internet, on your website to get signed. Keep on doing this shit. Keep on. This what they gonna come to your ass with right here. You gonna be in the feds. Because you going about this shit all the wrong way, listening to these damn fools. Now, early members of the Posse Comitatus initiated the tactics of paper terrorism. 70s and 80s filing false liens, lawsuits, sovereign documents to harass government officials, tax authorities, and law enforcement. The movement ideology is rooted in the belief that the 14th Amendment passed after the Civil War converted white Americans into slaves of the federal government. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Watch this. Roll the corn. Sovereign citizens file fraudulent documents, affidavits of truth and redemption, filing in an effort to separate themselves from the U.S. citizens.
Meet the forgotten tribe of the Yamasee Wars in 1715, a hidden chapter of resistance between the black indigenous Yamasee tribes and British colonists in South Carolina. Fueled by tensions over the enslavement of Native Americans, particularly the Yamasee.
In 1715, the Yamasee and their allies rose up against English colonists in South Carolina. Years of unfair trade, crushing debts, stolen lands, and the enslavement of native people had pushed them to the edge. The Yamasee launched attacks on settlements along the frontier, burning plantations. In 1715, the
him Bulletproof George Washington. Certain First Nations people from the Native Americans, you know, some of the chiefs and warriors, after the resolution came to and they divided up the land, they wanted to meet this powerful warrior that was bulletproof. One of the chiefs said they shot him 17 times. He did not die. They ended up telling their other warriors, don't waste your ammo on him. He has a great spirit protecting him. You can
collect dollars and fill seats, guess I'm crap flooring. Number one choice of the streets like I'm rap flooring. If it wasn't for me, I'd have to say rap born. It's the truth when I speak, yeah, word is born. Play this song preferably early in the morning. Since I ain't normal, would you say I'm abnormal? These dudes straight comical, Capcom. I'm just in it for the capital, that part. Don't forget to go hard. Don't forget about your boys. Don't ever blood the car. Just bring the sword, so don't forget to go hard.
or the North America was known as Al-Maghrib Al-Aqsa?
Of course, I know that. North America was known as Al-Maghrib Al-Aqsa, and it reported to the Sultan of Morocco.
It's your history. You're standing on your own land, trying to go to Africa, and you're standing on Africa.
And there was a relation. This is why I needed to ask you, what's the relation between the first, colonials and the governors of Morocco? Because they communicated, because on paper, it was part of Greater Morocco. That's known.
That's known.
How come you ain't getting this in school?
So when you hear about Marco Polo, this was the church trying to invade the land of the gods, which what you call America. So he make a deal that he got what you call backup from Kublai. His name was never Khan. After he escaped the warpath, he become Khan because now he learned knowledge about the Khan people. The Khan was us. The Amaru Khans, okay? So the Amaru Khans, that's why he get the name from. After the whoop ass, he realized within the knowledge that he acquired from coming to America, he will conquer Asia with it. And that's why he invade Asia and control and bring this knowledge to Asia, which is the snake knowledge, what we call the dragon. Okay? So this picture depicts to you the Mongol and the original Amarus, and the original Amaru Khan, or what you call the Tamarican, or what you call today indigenous people. So for all of you guys out there, okay, all of you so-called natives, here's your proof once again. You saw the difference between a Mongol and an indigenous person. Okay? This is where it is. So you were never indigenous. You were always an outsider. Okay, that's why the pictures always depict. See, this is why I don't get with some of y'all. Some of y'all is really a disgrace to your ancestors. Because how could you claim the side that were literally scalping your ancestors? Now look at his hair. Look at his hairline. You see? Or you cut that front.
Before the Canaanites, before the Latinized lies, and before the colonizers came to America, Amaru already existed. This land of great civilizations in architectural designing and sound vibration and frequency and the cymatics of God, which controlled the world, was already established in America long before the European settlers ever stepped foot on the land. And all of this truth has been hidden and rewritten out of America. But the truth is starting to resurface. And with rappers like Tupac Amaru Shakur representing the Amaru history, he was definitely trying to awaken his generation to the truth. And of course, the uneducated masses of so-called Black Americans wanted to destroy him, even though he was just trying to bring them the truth of who they were.
Some things that I don't think you even knew existed. It goes against everything Manifest Destiny teaches about Native Americans. And I want you to know this part of our history because people erased it, and we'll get to that later on in the program. Erased it intentionally. Erased it intentionally. That's an important part of it. America's history didn't begin with Christopher Columbus came over. There were ancient cities with advanced architectures all across North America. Did you know that? Hundreds of years before Columbus came. Let's think, oh, the Indians, they didn't scar the land. So, no, not true. These were cities as large as any in the world at the time. London or Rome, they were metropolises. Archaeologists say they have found evidence of 200,000 actual cities of mound-like structures all across North America that were here long before Columbus. But we don't know anything about them. Why? Why?
Most Americans have no idea that ancient cities with advanced architectures once dotted the ancient North American landscape. Director Kennedy has since coined a name for such places.
What I call hidden cities. I use the term because these were very big places. There were more people, we now know, in Cahokia, across from St. Louis, than there were in London or Rome.
For more than 50 years, evidence of humans in America much older than 13,400 years ago was simply dismissed, and anybody who attempted to go that way would not get research funding and would be ostracized by their colleagues and literally have their lives ruined. And this is most...
And actually, a little off topic, the word America, believe it or not, is an ancient Atlantean word. Amor-Ra-Ka, or Amor-Ra-Kans. Moor, meaning land. Khans, okay, Etans means snake priests, or plumed serpent, feathered serpents. So it's the land of the feathered serpents, which comes in for Thoth, Quetzalcoatl, Hermes. This got a couple other names, but anyway, you get the idea. So we are Native Americans. We are native to this land.
Ex-Micah, Taino words. Taino is black. We're not Indians. We might appear as such, but we're not. Just to clarify something, there are no Indian bones that was found in Jamaica. No 10,000 BC Indian bones. There's no anthropology, archaeological or otherwise. I can prove that there are any other presence on this land but of a dark-skinned Taino joined by our African brothers. These are the actual facts. They might not be in your textbooks or they might not be progenited in your university curriculums and such, but so be it. Ex-Micah, Taino words. Taino is black. We're not Indians. We might appear as such, but we're not. Just to clarify something, there are no Indian bones that was found in Jamaica. No 10,000 BC Indian bones. There's no anthropology, archaeological or otherwise. I can prove that there are any other presence on this land but of a dark-skinned Taino joined by our African brothers. These are the actual...
King of the Moors submitting to the Antichrist.
See, the sooner y'all realize Pocahontas descended from this man, the sooner y'all will understand what we, so-called Black Americans, mean when we say we descend from and thus are.
That's how you know it was us first, because before it was considered reservations, what were they called? Concentration camps. Before concentration camps, they were called public labor camps.
Labor camp.
Did we see any Native Americans go through so-called slavery? Because that's the land that they're talking about. Were they on the plantations? No. These people are brand new. They just got here. And you can't trace Native American to American Indian by way of paperwork. That's a brand new term that just started in the 1970s. I put that out there too. The first time that you heard the term Native American was from the Native American Party, the Know Nothings, the third largest political party during the time period of the Federalists and the Whigs. They were fighting for rights then, as foreigners. So that's why I tell people to stop calling yourself Native, because that has nothing to do with you. You're indigenous to this land. You're not a visitor. That's how you know it was us.
Black folk are the only non-immigrants in this country. I know people always say, well, Indians are immigrants. Indians were the original people. No, they were not. The original people in this country were black folk. The Folsom people that came in this country about 16,000 years ago. The so-called American Indians are Asians that came across the Bering Straits about 6,000 years ago.
This is going to blow your mind. This is the real Tartarian original family lineage. Okay, this is going back really far. We're looking at like 11th, 12th century. That is still, I think, the Habsburg Moor. It's amazing. The shield. The shield is the same thing. It's the same shield. He's also carrying something that I've seen in China, because I have traveled extensively around East Asian countries, especially Hong Kong and Taiwan. And that is a very important urn that is on top of all the Taoist temples. It's crazy. That is actually...
What if... Before the Kent...
And he also knows that...
Call it Jesus, call it Muhammad.
After being miraculously cured, Mason acknowledged throughout his... After being miraculous, Bishop Charles Harrison Mason
Mason was born the son of former slaves. Mason worked with his family sharecropping, and he did not receive an early formal education. As a child, Mason was greatly influenced by the religion of his parents. Like many enslaved people, his parents and grandparents were root workers. When Mason was 14 years old, he contracted tuberculosis during an epidemic that killed his father. Still back to...
Dr. Alex, and today we venerate the life of Charles Harrison Mason, who was born on this day in 1866 in Shelby, Tennessee. Now, whether you subscribe to the belief that he was involved in hoodoo and root work is solely up to you. However, there is evidence of such. For those that may not know, he was the founder of the Church of God in Christ, was known to practice rhabdomancy.
It's Hoodoo Heritage Month, and we are starting off with Bishop Charles Harrison Mason, the founder of the Grand Old Church of God in Christ. Bishop Mason was a prolific preacher, teacher, healer, trailblazer, the founder of the largest African-American Pentecostal denomination of the 20th century, and a root worker, which is often disputed but never quite refuted. He was photographed on a couple of occasions, as you can see here, with his roots and his tools, which he incorporated into his ministry. There's even a shrine, an altar, one might say, in Mason Temple, where his remains are to this day. When Bishop Mason founded the Church of God in Christ and ultimately split off from his original co-founders, he was ostracized because of his exuberant style of worship and integration of the Pentecostal form of ecclesia. Many people hone in on is his work around bringing forth the doctrine of infilling of the Holy Spirit with speaking in tongues. But what most people don't recognize is that his intentionality around the form of worship, around the singing, the falling out, the praising, that had nothing to do with the Azusa Street revival, and that had everything to do with his background as parents who were former slaves, and that he believed that that form of worship that he had experienced traditionally needed to be incorporated in how Black folk approach their religion. Many people do not realize that hoodoo and the Black church are inextricably linked for this reason. It is not about what others gave us, but it was always about imparting and embracing what we are, who we are, and what we come from. Laying on of hands, deliverance, praying through, speaking in tongues, moving out of the way so that spirit can have its way. That is who we are as a people, and that did not start here in the Americas. Another thing that Bishop Mason was convinced and convicted of was that consecration was necessary for elevation. Holiness had to do with being prepared and set aside for a specific use. Hoodoo is a tradition that was birthed by our ancestors and leveraged in order for us and their legacies to be able to survive. Hoodoo is not in competition or in opposition.
Conjure means to call up spirits. And if y'all believe that the Holy Ghost is the only thing moving in the Church of God in Christ, you are... Open your eyes.
After being miraculously cured,
Hoodoo, conjure, and root work is... Where? I'm gonna be quick to... Not on...
When I got to be 13, I went out in the wilderness and I prayed until I got converted, and I was baptized, and I came back. I got my right hand fellowship in the prayer house. That means that you are a member of the congregation. When I got to be 13.
Kojic people especially come from descendants of the bone collector tribes. And like I said, those bone collector tribes, like Google the Fellows, they start.
Eric.
Who do, lady? How do you do? Tell me you take a.
Let me be the one to tell you. Most of your great-grandmothers were magical women. She had an altar, but she didn't call it that. Back then, they called it prayer.
You know, it is the music and the drumming which induces the possession of the spirit. And so in a much milder way and limited way, that happens when we shout or get happy in our worship services. And the genius of black people is that we have never let the influence of the West rob us of our enthusiasm in our worship. I think what has made white Christianity so sterile is that somehow they bought into the business that to be emotional is to be unintellectual, and which is simply not true. You know, it is the music.
Titanic wasn't an accident. It was a targeted hit on the indigenous Moorish nobility. Don't believe me? Go look up Joseph Philippe Lemercier La Roche, a black engineer from the Lecointe political dynasty, traveling first class during the Titanic era. The original Jacob Astor, Isidor Straus, and Guggenheim were originally all Moors. But of course, they only show you the pale version. They bleached the history to hide the Moorish tenure of the land. But the bloodline is the Grail. Why'd they do it? Because these...
If I pull that Bible out, is you gonna read with me?
If this video don't piss you off.
Jesse, you will be missed, but I know there's something inside that wishes you would have told the truth to your indigenous people on how you came about your position, the money you were given to help hold us back. Jesse, you will be missed. All right, my beauties, my handsomes, my honeys, my bunnies. It's that time. Okay, we want to talk about Totally Covered, baby.
If this video don't...
Titanic wasn't an accident. It was a targeted hit on the indigenous Moorish nobility. Don't believe me? Go look up Joseph Philippe Lemercier.
Now, y'all remember when I told you the Romans was black, right? Well, what the hell made you think the Spartans were any different? This book right here by Frank Miller was written this was 4 years before the movie.
For those of you that never seen the movie 300, this was...
Yes, let me know everything on the planet was all about the Moors. There was nobody else before the Moors, so everybody was dark. Until they started getting recessive light. Just facts, all right? The mitochondrial DNA goes back to that original woman. Okay? Let's cut the nonsense. There has been more than one beginning on Earth. So people say the beginning. What beginning are you talking about? Did you talk about the beginning of the last 6,000 years for the modern man out here? Or you talk about another beginning with like another 26,000 years? Or you talk about another age before that was another 26,000 years? Or you talk about another age that goes... See, we got 12 ages like that with 26,000 years. The piece coming down to 312,000 years, but we at the end date now. Took over the Moors' position, acting like they bloodline. Yeah, they're evil bloodline. And they the ones give y'all the information to make y'all hate the Moors. Moors was about unity for the whole planet. The whole planet. It's always about peace and love. That's what we brought around the world. That's what we taught. Education and talking about a baby and stuff like that. But Satan,
King Xerxes.
Understand the Moors.
They like to call it the Reconquista. Everybody pay attention. This is what I want y'all to see. Now, I told y'all that they used the Moors to defeat us. And after they defeated us, they enslaved all the Anunnaki gods and goddesses. Then they turned around and used the Moors to build up Europe. The Moors, being still under the spell that they've been under, went along to help the Europeans build up Europe. Now, as soon as they got through making Europe, the Moors, so the Moors helped the fucking human beings not only capture the fucking Anunnaki gods and goddesses, but they then turned around and helped build up modern day Europe. They also are the ones that set up the United States of America. Like, the whole way we look at the structure of this country is based around what? The Constitution, the Preamble, and the fucking Declaration of Independence. Do you know why? Who you think it was that told them they should have a Declaration of Independence if they want to keep us slaved? The Moors taught them that. The Moors told them that. The Declaration of Independence is a fucking big-ass spell. The Preamble is a fucking big-ass spell. And when you recite it over and over, why you think they make you pledge allegiance to the flag? You're pledging your soul to that bitch. That's a spell. Who you think taught them to come up with a flag? Who you think the Moors did, man? The Moors did. After they got tired of dealing with the Moors, They eradicated their ass. This is why to this day, right now, there are no more Moors on the planet. You know why? Because the era was called the Reconquista. The Reconquista was a centuries-long series of battles by Christian states to expel the Muslim Moors. So, you know, of course they're going to add these lies. But look, date, 801 to 1492. That's a lie on that date. The Moors were wiped out by the same motherfuckers they helped. Now, for you motherfuckers who be out there calling yourself Moorish Americans, this is why when y'all ass go to court and y'all be like, I'm Moorish American, that shit don't be working. This is why motherfuckers that be talking that I'm Moorish American shit, you wonder why they be laughing at your goofy ass. You know what I mean? I was locked up. You know what I mean? Niggas try to go in court and go per se and use them I'm Moorish American, so y'all rules don't apply to me. Get that goofy ass found guilty. You sound crazy, man. You go in them people courtroom talking about I'm a Moor. You don't even know what a Moor is. They've been eradicated and destroyed. You feel me? And then see a lot of people, they read Noble Drew Ali. So this got motherfuckers feeling like they Moors. Nigga, you a Anunnaki god. You ain't no motherfucking Moor unless you want to be a house nigga.
Abraham Lincoln was Abraham the Moor, a melanated being whose true lineage stems from his mother Nancy Hanks and his grandmother Lucy Hanks, who were both black women. Of Mayan Grimaldi blood, whose true father, Doug Meade, was airbrushed into a ghost in those washed out photos to maintain the illusion of a white presidency. Media like Spike Lee's Bamboozled and the film Holiday Inn used blackface rituals as coded reverse psychology to mock our erased nobility. His whole crew was the same. His vice president, Hannibal Hamlin, was darker than a moonless night, yet they were listed as free white persons because white in this jurisdiction is a status of property and standing, not a paint color. The entire early government was a Moorish affair. Figures like Alexander Hamilton were black men of Malayan blood who sought to return the nation to the gold standard. Even John Hanson, a black man, served as the actual first president before George Washington was ever elected. Lincoln used the machinery of the courts to defend the American citizen against being redesignated as Negroes, chattel property, by arguing his clients were Moors, thereby protecting their...
You can't be Indian and not Moor.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
And this is the facts of it. In 1621, the word Indian was substituted for Moorish. With this single alteration, the original text was again transcribed in 1730. The source is Peabody Museum of American Archaeology and Ethnology. You can't be Indian and not Moor.
That's because Indian don't mean Indian. Indian is a Portuguese Latin word which means los in Dios. Lost in Dios. Lost from God. So when these dudes are saying I'm an Indian this and I'm Aboriginal this without claiming a real clan or nation, and they're claiming descendancy from these tribes that made these treaties that the white man violated, they are claiming descendancy from people that's not even their direct ancestors. They claiming it from the invaders, and they are saying that they are absent of God. That's where Indian come from. It's lost in Dios. Indian. So when you say the Indian, you're saying the godless. And you wonder why they slaughtered them and they give them no respect and do nothing. Because they know they're not the original people. They came over as slaves, really, of Genghis to fight for him against the dirty Spaniards and stuff that was benefiting from the fall. That's when race became the thing to use. Here's how the ballot stands by the end of the week. Negro, look, 769. See, because that's what they was pushing everybody into. Color, 486. Ain't those the two most used? Wasn't those the two most used during the Civil Rights era? Negro and colored? Right? Look, American 6, Ethiopian 4, American Negro.
Something of that myth, though, must have survived all the way into Mali.
In the movie Hold, Madame Zeroni wasn't just some...
Americans are the true Americans.
You think the movie Gangs of New York is just about some white beef in the 5 Points? No. It is showing you an occupation in real time. Long before those boats ever arrived, the Lenape, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Cherokee, the Seminole, the Mohawk, the Narragansett, and the Washita, who were the original Moorish tribes, were right here ruling and defending their own land with Aladial sovereignty. Look at the walls. That is not set design. It is documentation. DiCaprio walks past framed indigenous Moors clueless to the fezzes, turbans, and liberty caps. Those images are there to tell you that. So-called black people were already established in New York long before the manufactured white origin story ever got. In fact, the name New York itself traces back to York, a Moorish indigenous black man whose role in early America gets deliberately minimized. He was a
Walter Plecker. Walter.
Peace to the guys and goddesses. And as we were saying our native tongue to the Moors, Pake Tekun. Hey, look, since we going off for timelines, which is history and dates, because this is all we going by. We just going back to a holy rim, which is a pure rim, which is a high.
These people had an established civilization that not only rivaled that of Egypt in its height, but is also much older. In fact, at the 1996 14th session of the United Nations Summer Conference, these people were recorded as the oldest indigenous people on Earth. The first Americans, the Washita de Dugdamounja. Although it is known by archaeologists, historians, and anthropologists that an old and ancient people occupied this land before the American Indian, up until recently, not much effort has been made to educate the general public of this fact.
People ask, what are the Washita Moors? What's a Washita? What's a Moor? And understand, I am a Washita Moor. The Washita Moors have not gone anywhere. We've not disappeared. We're still here. It's part of American history that most people want to talk about, but beyond just American history, the Washita, we have our own history. The history of the Moors is there. It's been twisted and distorted, and it's just murky legends and the stories that kind of hide the evidence of the Washita and the Moors. The evidence of the Washita is very prevalent. It's just not being promoted and being taught in the education system. No one wants to talk about a race of people who were here, civilized, organized, and giant black people.
The Washita are the dark-skinned original inhabitants of North and South America.
Hey, different.
Black American.
I'm going to tell you a number of things.
Are the real American Indians. This is well known and hidden in clandestine communities. Look, if we come out and tell you, then we couldn't steal from you and occupy your land. The day you find out about land patents is the day you'll be free. That's the secret.
I am not a real, quote unquote, Black American. The real Black Americans are truly what was referred to as the American Indians. Everyone knows this.
In the movie,
Not divine, and it's not natural law. It's
Remember, when the earth was called Mu, this is. And when the people were called Moors, okay? Moors.
Let me teach you. This is M-U-U-R, not M-O-O-R.
Now, what else? This is a Timucua Indian, too. This is one of the most famous. This is called the Moor with the Emerald Cluster. This was made in the late 1600s or 1700s. And it's depicting an Indian chief from Florida from 1562. 63, 64. That's when these Indians were first encountered, northeast Florida. Notice that. Gold teeth even. Come on. They was kings, people. We was kings. You know, Rick Ross was right when he said, I think it was him, said, you know, we've always liked the bling. We've always liked flashy, you know, stuff like that. That's in our DNA. We can't help it. We can't take that out of us, you know. This could be good evidence for that. That is exactly what a black person would dress up like in ancient America, you know?
Yes, the more. One of the things that our people look at more.
Now we understand it's even deeper than that. Barack Obama is black nobility. That's black nobility right there. See, because he have to stand in the gap. When something happens, he got to come and say, "All night, it's gonna be all right now." Jesse Jackson, a Cherokee. Jesse Jackson is a Cherokee. It's gonna be all right. Don't worry about it. We gonna take care of the justice. I believe in the justice system. And 80% of melanated men that's locked up is melanated. It's indigenous like me. 80%. You want to fight about interracial relationships. Do you know interracial relationships been going on? I don't want to pull it up because it'll take too much time, and I don't want to go over 30 minutes. I don't want to go over that. But that's been going on. That's been going on a long time ago. But they want to always fight interracial relationships because they got to have you to always be. I'm not telling you not to be against, because it is about race. It is about these white folks too, because they playing a part in it. But when everything go down, we gonna have to fight with these foreigners. See them.
Here are 5 Kushite Commission Moorish names that ties Indians, Indo, India, Indios, Indus, blacks to the sovereignty of America. El, Bay, Day, Al, and Ali. These 5 names belong to the 5 civilized tribes. These tribes are El Cherokee, Bay Choctaw, Day, Seminole, Owl Creek, and Ali.
This is black indigenous Americans in the Americas in the 1600s, bro. Now, I'm gonna use black for lack of better terms that we can all understand, right?
We are more than just West African.
Right.
We are everything on the planet, and especially the ones in the Western Hemisphere, and especially the ones in America. We are all of that. Now the History Channel proved last year that the Moors was over here just through white people ancestry, where they got a group of white people, they said it had African American in them, Arabic, some type of Moor, and Northern European. Anyway, it was some sons and daughters of the Moors. They call them the Melungeons. So they got this stuff, and they said Elvis Presley was one, Ava Gardner was one, Abraham Lincoln. Same stuff that J.A. Rogers was saying years ago. They came right on the TV, but they'll put it on a show called Strange Universe. So that's to throw you off. It's called Weird. The show is called Weird USA or Weird US. So that's to throw you off. That's to tell all the scholars, go here and get your information of the people, but we'll put it on Weird US so it can put the rest of the country back to sleep. You see what I'm saying? You see, so Elvis Presley had some Negro in him too. How else was he able to perpetrate a fraud? You see what I'm saying? So they admit these things. So my point here is, what you said, well, what does that have to do with us? It is still saying that there was this Moorish element, just like the Moors said, already in the United States. You understand what I'm saying? And they are now, the History Channel now, anytime they talk about Aztec, and
why have we not heard more of the true origin of the name of California?
When the Moors had their Moorish empire, the Europeans were paying tribute to the Moors. One thing that the Europeans were doing, when they couldn't pay the tribute to the Moors, which is the finances, like the gold or silver, whatever that was available, they started giving their women to the Moors. And I think the biggest mistake that happened to us as Moors is we started laying down with those women. That was the downfall. Well, that was one of the downfalls of the Moors, is we started laying down with their women, all right? Because the European was giving their women in the thousands. So European women, which is who we call Albions, or misnomer today as a white woman, they were in the thousands of Moorish harems. Just like you see King Solomon in the Bible, who had all his harems, where the Moors were living out the same life of King Solomon. So they had thousands and thousands of women. So when the Moors went up into Europe, they slept with all these European women.
They have brothers and sisters that are claiming that they're sovereign, but they have, driver's license and they still have slave names. So can you please explain or clarify for those brothers and sisters out there that, you know, they are following the concepts of sovereignty. But if you are a national, you know, if you're a U.S. citizen, it can only be property or 14th Amendment citizen. How does that contradict with your claim for sovereignty?
Well, first of all, and this is absolutely, unequivocally, most important, you do not have sovereignty if you don't have nationality.
None. No. It comes first.
It comes with it.
Exactly.
In other words, sovereignty doesn't stand on its own. It comes with nationality.
Yes.
So the unity for everybody is nationality. Everybody got one. What's yours?
So what if there's an organization that say that they have a nation?
Okay, an organization that says they have a nation. First of all, nations start with women. Yeah. That's number one, coming from her womb. Mm-hmm. She is the one who creates nations. So there's a bunch of some brothers, sons somewhere talking about they started a nation. That's corporate. That's fictitious.
There are brothers and sisters that claim.
Do you understand that most of the shit that Noble John Lee and CMB did back then, they did with no paperwork? No paperwork. That CMB only filed shit in the Library of Congress and was able to do all this to the point where in 1928, when they received the mandate for North, Central, South America, do you realize what that did to Noble John Lee? That turned him into an emperor. He became emperor of the Americas, people. You don't give somebody jurisdiction over an entire hemisphere and now look at them as an emperor. I'm sorry. What do you think's a lot?
Before they were calling us, the original Europeans didn't disappear. They were replaced.
For the indigenous people of this land.
No, man, but you got to keep going.
The Chinese came in, mixed in with them, and produced what you're calling Native Americans today or Indians. And the Caucasians gave them all our rights. Right. Now they're walking around saying Cherokee, Choctaw, Shinnecock, Cheyenne, and we're walking around saying African. And they know that the Native Americans, the Moroccans, mixed in. The Native Americans and the Moroccans mixed in, and that's what's sitting here. And that's why some of you got wavy hair, some of you got nappy hair, and some of y'all got big lips, and some got thin lips, and some got slantizer. That's why some of y'all are light skinned. That's why you're all mixed up. It's a melting pot of our genes. But that's who they genetic trait that I am your Massey, Washita, Cherokee, Creek, Seminole, as well as Moor. Prove that. You follow that? And then you take that, not here. You don't go to his court. You go to the international court in Geneva. And the first thing you put forth is a statement, I am an indigenous person. Stop saying anything other than that. What is your nationality? I am a Moor. If any of you people have listened to me and went to any professional office and said it, you saw the reaction. You saw him go, we have white, Asian, Negro, and other. Well, put more in place of other. Well, aren't you a Negro? No. You see them fall apart, but you'll see them write it down. I can show you the but you'll see them write it down because they know it's the law. Because they have a
the black people who lived in Europe. Here we see something incredible. A fortress under siege, but not by armies or knights, but by a swarm of pale, hairy, wild men. And defending the walls are the noble Moors, kings, dark-skinned, bejeweled, elegant. The king and queen are seen on the window as well as the princess, all black royals defending their cap.
For those of you that don't know who the Moor...
Get him. Holy the visual. But y'all really need to be... Stop scrolling. Quiet. Y'all never took nothing. The niggas that made y'all in them goddamn incubator machines and cabbage patches, they put y'all in charge. But these niggas is still running shit behind the back. You white folks dumb as hell. Niggas run this shit. But y'all really need to be quiet. Y'all...
When the Moors of Spain
African men who went into Europe around 711 AD, and they really civilized Europe because Europe was going through a dark age. Europe was really struggling because after the Vandals had basically destroyed Rome, everything was backwards over there. So the Moors went in and they ushered in the Renaissance era. They brought in science, mathematics, astrology. They brought all of this into Europe.
They are bringing in hot and cold running water. They are bringing in concepts of what we call a cosmopolitan city. They are lighting the streets by lamps. In Cordova, they built an entire city where the streets for miles you could walk. Lamps that lit the street at night.
Philosophy that if they break one tree for the indigenous people of this land, the Chinese came in, mixed.
Refer to all black.
Are you asleep? Come on, you're not sleeping. Listen to me. I'm asking. You hear me? I'm asking. You black little Indian, come on, you hear me? You know something? I see you in there.
Let's get.
Peace, y'all. I've decided to make another part regarding this video on
the Maya.
Allodial rights from the dark cloud of Roman jurisdiction.
C.A. La Roche, a black engineer from the Lacan.
Every time I go live and I say that the Indians are brown skinned, right? They say, oh no, they brown skinned, but they wasn't black. Black? Nobody's black. This is my status. That's the thing. These immigrants are very much uneducated. Even some of my people think they blackity black. But baby, you're brown skinned. Brown skinned. Brown skin, okay? And these people get upset because we claiming who we are. You took everything from the so-called black people, the actual brown people. You know the brown people that you want to be so bad? Because, we could really talk about it. They're not indigenous. Indigenous means brown skin, ether, fifth element. You ain't born with that. The only reason my people getting done like this is because they don't know who they are. It's because they think they are foreign title African-American or a fake status black, a dead status. That's the only reason we're getting done how we are on our own land.
100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corner of American society.
If y'all don't remember my other post, boy. What that say right there? What that say? Sworn in as the first native.
Titanic wasn't an accident.
So up in 1750.
Captain Chief George.
Peace.
The Yamasee were not a.
My cousin meet the forgotten tribe of the Yamasee Wars in 7B, and we're at Flagler College for the Yamasee Conference. B, good morning. Can you explain to the non-natives what B stands for?
B in our language, which our language is the language of Hichiti. A lot of the Mikosuki people speak a form of
black people.
These Native American tribes are Moors, and I quote, Washito, Yamasee, Iroquois, Cherokee, Choctaw, Blackfoot Pequot, and Mohican. These Native American tribes are Moors, and I quote, Washito, Yamasee, Iroquois, Cherokee, Choctaw, Blackfoot Pequot, and Mohican. These Native American tribes are Moors, and I quote, Washito, Yamasee, Iroquois, Cherokee, Choctaw, Blackfoot Pequot, and Mohican. These Native American tribes are Moors. And I quote, Washito, Yamasee, Iroquois.